All right. Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Hodlcast. Today is January 15th, and I'm here with BitBoy on Twitter. and maybe you can give a little background of yourself, how you got into Bitcoin, and then we're going to focus a lot of today's episode on the importance of securing your private key. We just saw Cryptopia had a major hack this morning, and so that's kind of going to be the focus of our topic.
Yeah. So sure. So I basically got involved in Bitcoin in 2012. So I go back pretty long ways. A lot of people got into Bitcoin through the Silk Road, which was not how I got into it. So, but it was kind of a similar thing. Whereas I wanted to purchase something, it was a software. It was just violated the terms of service of a certain website. So that website had it shut down, and I really needed it for a business I was running at the time. So I had to get that software, and they only started taking Bitcoin after their website got taken down. So I was looking back. I created my Mt. Gox account and things like that in December 2012. And, I probably had about $10,000 worth of software purchases because there was a monthly fee and I had to add new ones. And I just wish I would have had that money in Bitcoin instead of actually like paying for the service, because I would probably be, mega rich right now. But, I did make some money during that time by using it, and I got very interested in it. I actually sold everything I had right before Mt. Gox crashed. So it turned out to be like, on one hand, it's like, I wish I still had it and I had moved it to a private wallet, because then I would have been set up. But on the other hand, like, not knowing much about crypto at the time, I would have had it all on Mt. Gox when it crashed. So, I used local Bitcoins to sell them, which at the time felt a lot like a drug deal. You just met a guy at a random place and you brought your computers, and it was real sketchy. So it was definitely a very interesting time back then. And over the next several years after about 2014, so 15, 16, 17, I just stayed interested in it, but wasn't like all in. And so last year I went all into crypto, and this is my full-time job now, doing the channel, the podcast, and, social media and stuff like that. So I started my channel as I came up with these characters. I was really excited. BitBoy and HODL. BitBoy was the superhero, the crypto superhero, and then HODL was his loyal sidekick companion. He was a turtle. And, so if you go back on my channel and look at the early days, I have some episodes and did some things, but the amount of work I was having to put in that compared to the amount of views and exposure I was getting wasn't great. So, I switched to doing news videos and coin reviews and things like that. And it's done very well for me in terms of, getting the exposure, especially in a bear market. It's hard to get the interest there. But so sometime during that time, people started referring to me as BitBoy instead of my character. So I just kind of took on that persona, and I guess, I'm the crypto superhero, that no one deserved or needed. So.
Yeah, I didn't know the history of that. Thanks for explaining. I like the cartoon image you have with it too.
Yeah, so it just was like gold when I struck it. I was like, man, this is the greatest idea ever. And then it just, it's hard to animate, and the interest with the bear market just isn't there. So there's a lot of videos floating around crypto YouTube that, if this were during a bull run, would have millions of views, but just because the interest isn't there, then they don't do very well. And it's hard for content creators to work really hard to create content, whether it's not a news video, I mean, like songs or do creative stuff. It's so hard putting the time and energy into that when you don't get the return on your investment. So not financially, but just at least you feel like people are seeing it,
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, my views are always, I don't do any I don't do a lot of marketing for this channel or anything either. So it's been but you know what? I enjoy doing the videos, and I learn a lot every time I do it. And so I guess that's the main thing.
Well, but, we're building, this is a phase in crypto, and this is what I tell everybody. If you're interested in doing something in crypto, like, you're not going to get the return on it right now, but you have the time to build something with a great foundation. However, your time is running out, because after this next bull run comes, this will be a completely oversaturated market. My wife is this might sound kind of silly, but, my wife's a mom blogger, and she's been blogging for 6 years or something. She's got a Facebook page. She does pretty well with it. And, she said that kind of what she's seeing in crypto right now reminds her of when she first started following mom blogs. That mom blog wasn't even a term that people knew, but now most people know what they are. And the people that got in at that time, at the very beginning, before that niche blew up, are all millionaires now. They have clothing lines, they have cookware lines, they've got all that stuff because it became such a huge niche. And right now there's such value in getting into a niche like this that is not oversaturated and the interest isn't there yet, but we can kind of see it coming. So as I tell, if you're interested in doing a channel or social media or whatever it might be, like now's the time to do it for sure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And so did you, I know you saw it because we talked about it before starting the show, but what did you think about the news from Cryptopia this morning?
Does not surprise me at all. Cryptopia to me has always been one of the scammiest exchanges. I don't like it. I don't feel like the security is good there. There's a reason why every pump and dump group does coins from Cryptopia. I don't know if there's some kind of insider, connection there, but back during the bull run when pump and dump groups really became popular, I did one. I didn't do my own, but I got in one because I didn't know that wasn't something you were supposed to do. Like I had just, started my social media accounts and things like that. And so I was like, oh, this is interesting. Somebody sent me a message like, yeah, sure, I'll come look at it. And they were all on Cryptopia. Now, I never actually did
I never got involved with, I never was in one of those Telegram channels. What would I've read reports about it, but what would it be like? It would be like, buy right now and we're all going to sell at the same time.
Yeah, well, and this is something very important to know. If you ever do get involved in a pump and dump group, well, number one, if you're an organizer, it's against the law. Right. Number two, if you get involved in it, you're the one who's going to get hosed. The people running the groups are the ones that make the money. You're not going to make any money if you get into a pump and dump group. So basically what they were is it was my first time downloading Telegram. I never even used Telegram before. So I got in the channel. They would do announcements for, like maybe 2 or 3 days in advance. Like, okay, this is the day, this is the time, everybody get ready. When we give you the signal, then you go in and buy it. And so what happens is they use obviously a small cap coin, but they do it on a real crappy exchange. So what happens is there's not enough volume on that exchange to match your sell order. So you can go in and you can buy with the spot they tell you to buy, and then the candle will come up, and sure enough, it happens. I mean, it's at least 2x, some of them were higher than that. And then all of a sudden they say, okay, now it's time to sell. Well, by the time they tell you to sell,
they've already sold.
They've already sold. And there's not enough volume to fill your orders, because on Cryptopia, there's no such thing as a market order. You can only do limit orders. So you're like, held captive to whoever wants to buy that. And the only people that were buying and selling the pump and dump were the people in the group. So, you get exposed. So Cryptopia has a troll box. Do you know what a troll box is?
I've heard of the Poloniex troll box as being legendary.
Right. So a troll box is basically a chat on an exchange. So the idea was you go on Cryptopia, you set your pump and dump group up, and then as soon as you start telling everybody to buy, then everybody hits the chat box. It's like, oh man, have you guys heard about, X coin? It's so good. You got to buy it. It's so awesome. It's so obvious what's going on, like all of a sudden, like 10 people out of nowhere, like, oh, buy this coin, buy this coin, buy this coin. And, that kind of helps pump it up a little bit. So, but it's very scammy, very sketchy. Like I said, I didn't even know, like over this last year, learning about the law, regulation, things surrounding crypto that was like in financial markets, because financial markets is not my background. It has definitely been something very interesting. But as well, I've done several videos where I've talked about, pump and dumps and their scams and why you should never.
Yeah, I think like even there's bounties out by the CFTC for sure, probably the SEC as well. I think they'll pay money to like if people whistleblow on those things. Like I think it's around $100,000 that they'll pay.
I need a time machine.
Yeah.
Well, but the thing is like you're not. You're trying to catch someone who's anonymous,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the names of all of those pump and dump groups were similar. They were like, whale pump and dump. They all had the word whale in it. I don't know why. So, but unless you can arrest an avatar of a whale, then they're going to have a hard time finding these folks, because these folks knew what they were doing for sure.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so that was my experience with Cryptopia. And that's why I from the jump, the only experience I had was looking at those pump and dump groups, and just realizing how sketchy, I think it's in New Zealand, I believe Cryptopia is. So it just doesn't surprise me at all that it got hacked. And it's just, you got to take your, security seriously.
Mm-hmm. I used them once to buy, I bought Raven coin on it. Like, it was before Raven was on any exchanges, but someone off the Discord channel told me to go on Cryptopia, and then I think I sent him Bitcoin on there. I forget exactly how it happened, but I did one transaction. Like, I have an account with them, and but I only used them the one time. But that sucks. Like, everyone that's got money on it. I mean, hopefully it didn't seem like there was a lot of that proof of keys on January 3rd. It didn't seem like that got a ton of traction, but hopefully some people.
I knew it wouldn't. Yeah.
I know.
It sounds great in theory, but I think people would be shocked to understand the level of expertise that we all have that have been in crypto compared to your normal crypto investor. And by expertise, I just mean being able to move your crypto. Like, I'm not talking about some super advanced, blockchain technology knowledge. I just mean being able to move your crypto. Most people don't. And I also think people extremely overestimate the number of people that are invested into crypto who are also invested in the community of crypto. So if you're not invested in the community of crypto, you didn't even know proof of keys was happening. And most of your people who know how to move your crypto, we don't have our money on exchanges, so I think it could become like an annual thing, which over time as the crypto community grows could be good. So in that regard, I think it was a good thing, but I'm not going to call it a failure. Because I don't really know, I don't think exchanges were shaking in their boots like a lot of people were trying to indicate that they were.
But over time, like you said, if every year it starts to be more and more of a trend, it at least puts the exchanges on notice. Like, well, for this day, you can't be, you have to have everyone's coins available. But So what do you think is the best ways to store coins? Like, what are the best wallets that you're seeing out there right now?
Well, there's three that come to mind. You can't really go wrong with a ledger. Honestly, the ledger has the most trust. Now, something I learned recently that I had not even thought about, which is one of those like kind of dodo moments, was if you're going to buy your ledger, you need to buy it directly from the ledger website. I ordered 2 from Amazon, and luckily, nothing happened, and I had them for about a month. But then I started hearing all these horror stories about people that ordered it on Amazon, because what happened is Ledger had them on sale, I think for $69. And so a bunch of people on Amazon grabbed them all up and were selling them. But mixed in with that was people who were, putting malware or something so they could basically steal your transaction. So luckily that did not happen to me. But now I have a ledger that is directly from the company. So that's definitely a big tip to everybody. But Ledger is the most trusted. You have the Ledger Nano, which holds the most different types of crypto. There's still a limit on the memory, so it can't store 10 coins at one time. There is a way that you can actually like add and delete the crypto applications per se, so you can add unlimited. But I just ordered 2 because it was easier. And then you have the Ledger Blue, which can't hold as many different cryptos, but has a touch screen and is real nice. Ledger's also coming out with a new Nano here pretty soon, which is pretty exciting, which supposedly will have unlimited memory or much more memory than it has now. Cool Wallet is another one that I really like, which is it's called Cool Wallet because it's in between hot storage, which is internet web storage, and then cold storage, which is totally offline. It's in between. It uses a physical device and also an app on your phone at the same time. So big fan of Cool Wallet. Have been, ever since I got one. It's the size of a credit card. It can fit in your wallet, your actual, fiat wallet. And it's almost indestructible.
Wait, what would happen if you lost it in your wallet though?
As long as you have your seed phrase, you can restore it.
Okay.
So, and I can't remember if it's it or KeepKey that has a seed storage that's actually numbers instead of letters. But whatever it is, there is a way. That's where the app comes in handy, because with the app you can restore it and vice versa. So, Cool Wallet definitely is one of the best ones out there. Is limited by how many, compared to the Ledger, how many different types of cryptos it can hold. Like Ledger can hold Tron, it can hold Ontology. It can hold a lot the other ones can't hold. I mean, most of your wallets are going to be able to hold, your original Coinbase coins, not original, but you guys know what I mean. Ethereum, Litecoin, Bitcoin Cash, most are going to be able to hold Ripple, but then after that, it gets a little dicey. So then third is also, I would like to say the Monarch wallet, really like that. Monarch wallet it seems like it's hot storage because it seems like it's a web wallet, but they're actually storing it offline on the blockchain. So it's in the ICO right now. It's the only ICO I've ever invested in personally. Robert Beatles, aka Crypto Beatles, is the president over there. I've met the Monarch team, so definitely a big fan of Monarch and what they're doing. I think it's actually going to be very successful because it's not just a wallet; it's also a portfolio tracker. They also have a way coming out very soon where you'll be able to pay bills, with your crypto, which is always
that's
exciting.
Interesting. Yeah. And what about, so you know how people are getting deplatformed, or like the Jordan Peterson thing with Patreon?
Right.
Will any of these wallets, do you think, be able to set up a recurring payment the way that credit cards work, to like say debit your wallet, for $5 at the beginning of every month without you having to physically go do the transaction?
Yeah, I'm not specifically sure about that, but I'll just say this. The Monarch wallet is aiming to be the end-all and be-all of wallets. So you can download the apps right now in the Android store and the iOS store. I'm not a paid spokesman for them. They have never paid me $1. I want to make that clear. I don't do sponsored content for them or anything like that. I really believe in what they're doing. And so I believe that if that's not a feature that they have already planned, that eventually down the line, they will have that, because what Monarch is trying to do is be your one-stop shop for wallets where it can do everything. So, like I said, paying bills with it. So it makes sense that they would be able to have some kind of, function that would do that down the line too. So I'm not telling people to invest in it, but it's definitely something to look into, because the vision for what Monarch is going to be is basically what we're all looking for.
Okay. And how much are they raising?
Oh, I don't know. I'm not that involved in it. So I don't know what the end goal is. I think it ends in June. It's been a pretty long ICO, but there's plenty of content out there about Monarch if you guys want to look into it a little bit more. So, and it's one distinction to make. Like I said, it's not hot storage. So like the Ethos wallet, everybody's been very disappointed with Ethos. It was trying to be the universal wallet everybody used. Everybody's been disappointed with it pretty much. The price of everything's been bad, but after the release, the price of Ethos was really bad. It's actually a web-based wallet. So you don't want a web-based wallet that's always going to allow backdoors for people to get in and do steal your crypto. So the cool thing about the Monarch wallet is it's off. Your crypto is stored offline in the blockchain. Even though,
so would that be kind of the same as like the Coinbase Vault? Like, do you have to give them custody for them to put it offline?
I'm not 100% sure about that.
Okay. And what about, I've heard a lot about Wasabi and Samurai wallets. Have you looked at them at all, or?
Well, I did just have some wasabi yesterday at the hibachi place. So that's about all I know about wasabi. I believe wasabi is I think
it's privacy focused wallet. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm thinking of Wabi. That's a different one. That's a supply chain coin. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Our knowledge of useless coins is so impressive, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. And for people that are new in crypto, do you ever recommend, I'm starting to lean more towards the idea that maybe Coinbase isn't the worst way to store their coins, because someone that's brand new, like my mom or something like that, it is pretty hard to try and explain how to use a Trezor or to put it on a paper wallet or something like that. So I don't know what the right thing is for these people. But then you see, I started to come around to the idea that maybe for new people, just buying a little bit on Coinbase and leaving it there is the best way to at least get your, dip your toe in the water with the crypto world. But then after seeing what happened today, it's like that could happen to any company. So it's really scary.
Yeah, it is, but it's not. I mean, Coinbase, they just moved a good percentage of their crypto to BitGo storage, to BitGo storage, basically. I'm not exactly sure what you would call that, but they moved a ton of it. And so I tend to agree with that. A lot of people would say that's crazy, but Coinbase is very secure. I believe Binance is very secure. I think people are always talking about these.
What are they doing that's more, both of those companies? I agree, like that they seem to be, the most well-respected and haven't had hacks yet, but what are they doing with their storage?
Well, it's not necessarily what they're doing with their storage. It's what they built as a company. And so Coinbase, now you supposedly, I've been meaning to get in and read the fine details of this, but I believe up to $250,000 on Coinbase is insured. Now, some people have said that that's only if you have US dollars in your wallet.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. I haven't read the fine print either, it would very much shock me if they were insuring. I don't think the FDIC would allow for insurance on crypto. So they could, but they can insure the fiat money that's in there the same way any other bank would.
So my thing with Binance and also Coinbase is not necessarily, like, obviously they're the two biggest by a long shot, especially for American investors. I mean, there are some, OKX is pretty big and things, and Huobi is pretty big. I think they're making moves in the right direction. But right now, I feel like Binance and Coinbase, what they are as a company and what they're valued, if they were to get hacked, it would cost them much less to just pay the people back all the money than it would to have some kind of faux pas. We just had $20 million stolen, and if you had $500,000, sorry, that would reflect much worse on them and affect them more down the road than it would to just be like, sorry guys, we got hacked, we'll reimburse you for this money. And that's why I feel more confident with Coinbase and with Binance, not necessarily the technology that's protecting. Now, granted, if someone was able, no one could get it. The way that these companies are structured, nobody could get in and steal all the crypto. That's not a real thing because they're stored in so many different ways in different places. That's why Coinbase just moved a bunch.
Mm-hmm. But and then that's like with Cryptopia, they said basically only Ethereum and some other coin that started with a C were the only two that were hacked. So we'll see.
That makes sense. But I think even Coinbase, like, they don't even have all their Ethereum would be stored in the same place. I mean, they've got when they were moving the crypto, I can't remember what they called it. They called it something about the private keys, where basically like they split up all the private keys of all of the coins that they were moving, and then they split those keys into 5, and there were 5 employees that had a small piece of the private key. So none of them even had them at the same time. And then when they wanted to move it, they all had to come together like Captain Planet or something.
That's awesome.
So I just think Coinbase and Binance are the two. A lot of people don't like the way Binance does business, and I'm actually one of them. I don't like some of the stuff that they've done. But in terms of being a beacon for crypto and companies that I believe you can trust, I definitely think Binance and Coinbase are some. If you have someone that does not know how to move their crypto, then they're not involved with the community. They're not watching videos and stuff, because if they were, then they would understand all this stuff over time. But so for your average person that just invests and maybe buys one Bitcoin or even, $200, whatever it might be, we need to be realistic. Like right now, crypto is not evolved to the point where it's easy to do these things. And if you're going to buy it and hold it somewhere, I definitely say Coinbase is by far the best option.
Because you can put it in that vault too, which I think then they move it to hard storage. But it's same thing, like, not your private keys, not your crypto. But I used to think a paper wallet was a good way to store it. But then I was told even if you put everything offline and like your printer will still take a photo of your private keys, and that crazy, so if someone was able to hack into the printer database, they could get your private key there. And then even with the Trezor and Ledger, what if there's a rogue employee at the factory making them, copying the addresses? So really, like, it doesn't feel to me, and obviously I'm not technical like some, I think some of the people in here, they probably do feel completely secure all the time about their crypto, but I have to go check every month to make sure it's still on my Trezor or
I check every day.
Other places.
I check every day. It's a scary feeling every time you do it. But another tip for people using a ledger, that there is a way to, if you got ordered one from Amazon and it hasn't gotten there yet, or you accidentally do it, or you're worried about someone from the ledger company, doing something like that, you can actually input the wrong PIN number in 3 times in a row, and it will reset it. So whatever seed phrase was stored in there originally, it will give you a new one. So that's one way you can actually clear that out and get a new seed phrase if you're worried about anything like that. So
that's a good idea.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So and I think that probably we're not the main targets for people doing super complicated, trying to figure out how to hack a ledger. They're going to be figuring out how to, one of these guys that has millions of dollars, like the guy from Michael Turpin. The guy had, $24 million stolen, I think, through the SIM card hack.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, those SIM card hacks are terrible too.
Yeah.
I know a lot of people that have been hacked that way. It seems like it's got to be insiders at the phone companies.
100%. They are unavoidable. You cannot prevent a SIM card hack if you have Verizon, T-Mobile, Sprint, or AT&T. You cannot prevent it. It's organized crime. There's organized crime going on here, and what they're doing is they're paying people, and this is not conspiracy, this is confirmed. They are paying people inside of the phone companies between $80 to $100 for each number that they will port over to them. So you may think that your phone is protected. You may have a PIN number on it. You may have, like I have PIN number. I have red flags on my account. I have something on my account that says I can only make changes physically inside of one specific store. But it's not enough, because you're still relying on a $10 per hour employee to follow through with all those policies. And, I'm not saying there's anything bad with $10 employees if that's how much money you make. What I'm saying is that's not enough money for someone to be making for when somebody comes and says, hey, if you port $500 over to me, that's $5,000. Or if you port 500 numbers to me, that's $5,000. That's a lot of money to a person that makes $10 an hour. So morally, you can definitely blame them. Financially, it's hard to blame them, Mm-hmm. And of course they're taking a big risk legally and things like that. I understand that, but it's
so far the phone companies, they must know, for Michael Turpin's case,
so
I
negligent.
think that someone had to had to override something 14 times because he had all those things set up, and they still did it, and they didn't get fired as far as I know. And that, that seems like you should definitely fire that person or hold them criminally liable.
Well, check this out. This is unbelievable. To me, this is the craziest part of that entire story. Did you know there's a clause in the AT&T contract, and I would assume also in the other big, the other 3 big phone companies, there's a clause that says that even if you suffer financial loss directly due to the negligence of one of their employees, they are still not responsible.
Yeah.
That's unbelievable. That right there tells you that they know for 100% that this is going on, and they've not come up with a good way to stop it yet, and they're trying to protect themselves. And you may say, oh, well, yeah, that'll never hold up in court. Yeah, but your one little lawyer in your town will never be able to stand up. Michael Turpin, who's a multimillionaire, is having a hard time fighting against these phone companies. They're going to keep this thing tied up in the courts for a long time.
He had to try and overcome the arbitration clause, which was in the same terms of service as what you just described, that clause saying they're not financially liable. So they agreed with the arbitration clause in the terms of service, which means that other clause that's in there would likewise hold up. It's crazy that these terms of service that no one read can put whatever they want in it. And because we click a box, we've consented to it. But that's where the contract law has evolved these days.
There's a good South Park episode about that, if anybody's seen it, about the Apple terms of service. It's very, very funny. But
I love South Park. I haven't seen it in a while, and I miss it.
Well, you'll go in streaks. You'll watch it for maybe a week or whatever, or a couple days, and you remember how funny it is. No show in modern times has been more dead on with satire than South Park. It's genius what they do.
Yeah.
But of course, I'm not the type of person that loves gross humor and stuff. So there's definitely some stuff on there that's not for me. But did
overall, you see the one? Oh, it's too gross. Never mind.
you see what I mean? That's almost every one. You want to bring that. But one interesting thing about those SIM card hacks and the employees. There was a guy who worked for T-Mobile. He was a manager of a store, and he put an Instagram post up, and he hashtagged T-Mobile in it, and he was wearing his T-Mobile shirt. Within 1 hour, he had a guy on there offering him money to port numbers over. So wow. That's how common this is, and that's how they're finding these phone employees. They can find phone employees. This is the 24/7 Big Brother world that we live in, and it's very scary. And there's whole websites. OGusers.com, I think, is a whole website where people are buying and selling social media accounts. All this stuff is happening right under our noses, and I just don't think a lot of times we really grasp how unsafe we are. Now, there are ways you can never prevent someone from SIM card hacking your phone, but there are ways to secure your email account, your social media accounts, basically without using the phone number that's connected to your main phone bill. So like, for instance, if you have a Gmail account, Gmail forces you to add a recovery email and or a recovery phone number. But you can go in and create a Gmail account and add those things. You can, use a Google Voice number or whatever it might be to add those things. And then after your account is created, you can actually then remove them and just add two-factor authentication, which also you should not have linked to your phone number or your email address. So there's ways that you can prevent this from happening.
Is the Google Authenticator, is that a good one for the two-factor?
Yeah. I generally use Authy. I just like it better. There's better ways to back it up, but Google Authenticator and Authy are the two. I don't even know if there's a different one. I think those are the only two, at least the two main ones.
Mm-hmm. And so if you have everything saved on your Trezor or Ledger, and they get in and they get your email, they get your Twitter, they still can't get your Bitcoin if it's on there. But if it's on Coinbase and now they're in your email, and now they can maybe find your login information and start, sending verification emails. Yep. Same thing with Binance. My Binance is set up, and Coinbase, if they detect a new IP address, then it will prompt an email. But if someone had two-factor hacked, then they can get in your email and say, this is me. So that's
the key is the email. Your email is the most important, piece of identification that you have, really. I mean, we've learned the phone number is not good at all, and the email really can be hacked as well. But once they get into your phone and they can get access to your email, at that point, they have free reign on anything that you own, anything that you can hit forget password on, anything that you can do SMS verification on. All of a sudden, it's all gone. And there's horror stories of people just sitting there watching all of their crypto get stolen. And I know a guy who a lot of people know, but I won't say who it is, who lost a ton of money from his Trezor. And the way that happened, to my knowledge, he's the only person anything like this has happened to. I'm sure it has happened before, though. These are the little things about crypto that you hear and you say, oh, that'll never happen to me. When he first got that Trezor, he took a picture of his seed phrase, and then he deleted it. However, it was still in his iCloud account. 6 months, year down the road, whatever it was, he thought, oh, nobody would ever find that. There's so much stuff on there. Well, and I don't even know if he really thought that somebody could actually get into his iCloud, but he did say he thought that nothing would ever happen. And he got SIM card hacked, and somebody got access to his iCloud, and they found that picture, and he watched all of the money drain from his Trezor, and there was nothing he could do about it. And I had done stuff like that before. I had a document on my computer where I kept some of my private keys. I kept that stuff, and I named it something crazy. I put it way in a file. But these hackers are smart. They will find that. And when I first started learning about the SIM card hack and started freaking out, I changed the way I do everything. Any hardware wallet I ever have does not touch anything digital ever. I got myself a it's called steel, crypto steel, maybe. They're little pieces of steel or titanium. And you can order an etching pen, an engraving pen. You can order those on Amazon for $10. So for $30, you can get the crypto steel, which are little titanium disc, and then the etching pen, and you can actually etch your, seed phrase onto those little steel plates. And that way you have something that's fireproof, it's waterproof, it's stored, and then of course you never have to worry about it again. And then, you never want them just in one place. So then I have another location where I have paper copies of them. So nothing will ever touch anything digital. So these are lessons that we're having to learn. And, in a roundabout way, as crazy as all this is why, people talking about a huge bull run, adoption, mainstream, like it's so exciting because we're so far away from even being able to do things normally and safely. Once we're able to do things easily, normally, safely, and these don't have to be these crazy conversations, like the way that crypto is going to touch the world is going to be really incredible.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I hope we get to that safe level. It's, I think, trying to be your own bank is probably the hardest part of all this, to do it safely. But
we're used to having someone else be responsible for our money. We've been trained,
mm-hmm.
And so yes, if your bank account gets hacked, they're going to give you the money back. It actually happened to me. It's happened to me several times. People using, scanning. They can scan before they had the chip. They could scan your card from across the room. It happened to me twice. And the bank gives you all your money back. You don't count all the money that the bank's been stealing from you along the way, but being responsible for our own money is something that, it's kind of like that elephant that gets tied by a chain. When they train an elephant, they tie it to like a steel block. They have it on a chain. It walks in a certain circle and it learns basically the diameter of where it can walk. And then they remove the chain and it still doesn't go outside of it. And that's what the banking system has done to us. And it's time that we break through that. And I'm willing to be a sacrifice. I've been hacked before. I'm willing to be that person on the front end, and we all are. Anyone who's in this community is already doing this to say it's rugged terrain. We don't really know what the future looks like, but we're willing because we understand the bigger movement that's at stake right now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's exciting to be part of it. And
it is.
yeah, thank you for this good reminder. I think everyone is, after seeing the Cryptopia thing, if you haven't gone and moved anything off exchanges onto a hard wallet, it's time to take, we spend all this, I say we, but I do a lot of work where I'll get paid in crypto, or I'll spend, if I get money, I'll buy crypto. And then it's like, it would be such a waste to just let it get hacked by not taking a few simple steps that are outlined, for us by a lot of different people. So hopefully everyone does take the hour or two required to secure this properly. So yeah, thank you. And really appreciate having you on. Tell everyone where they can find you.
Yeah, you can find me on Twitter and Instagram at bitboy_hodl. I just make memes on Instagram. It's not that exciting, but Twitter, give some insight here and there. And you can find me on YouTube at Bitboy Crypto, and my podcast. I have a podcast as well called Beards and Bitcoins.
Mm-hmm. Awesome. Thank you, and have a great day.
Thanks, guys.
Bye.